Hello and welcome to Ecocentric. I'm your host, Jake Zaleski. We've got a lot of environmental news to cover this week, and if you're watching this video for a specific story, you can check the description for the timestamp. Let's get started. First up, amid growing concerns, the time is running out to limit the impact of climate change. Cambridge has launched a climate research center. The extent to which climate change can be reversed is currently very limited, but reversal of emissions and resulting changes of temperature, weather patterns, and biodiversity will be necessary unless countries like the United States commit to more ambitious climate goals in the next few years. Research is beginning to shift away from prevention and more toward dam control, as climate change becomes an increasingly time-sensitive situation. The new department at Cambridge, one of the most renowned research institutions in the world, is devoted to advancing technologies like carbon capturing and polar refreezing. Scientists have been reluctant in the past to pursue technologies that may disrupt the Earth's ecosystems, but the impending climate crisis has emboldened a new wave of researchers to push the limits of human ingenuity in their efforts to find any and all potential fixes for climate change. With the resources and the global prestige of Cambridge behind it, the outlook for climate technology is more promising than ever before. This is my problem with the phrase, how will we pay for it? Yes, acting on climate change will be expensive, but so will not acting on it. If someone ever asks you how we'll pay for the Green New Deal or the ambitious climate plan, ask them how we're going to pay back the trillions of dollars in damages that our environmental crises are bringing. It definitely puts things in perspective. Failure to take action on climate change will cost the financial sector more than $1 trillion by 2035. The UN Environmental Finance Initiative estimates that losses will meet or exceed $1.2 trillion in the next 15 years unless measures are put in place to assuage the financial toll of an increasingly unpredictable climate. The group also predicts that companies that are unwilling to commit to lower levels of emissions will fall behind their cleaner competitors as strains on resources and pressure to reform become increasingly dire issues. Economists predict that these trends will produce economic recessions with greater frequency and severity in the near future. Carbon taxes could offer a solution to this problem, providing a monetary incentive for companies to reduce their carbon footprints and invest in carbon capture and renewable energy. Greater government assistance and preparation for natural disasters can also reduce the burden put on insurance companies, preventing extreme rate hikes as disasters become more common and destructive around the world. I've always said that a country or a group of countries that take action on climate change will become the new world leaders. Well, since the United States government is cowering away from meaningful action, the United Nations is stepping in. Combating climate change is becoming a top priority at the UN as pressure to put forth new resolutions mounts worldwide. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres plans on beginning a long series of climate talks as he travels to the islands of the South Pacific to personally address the impact of climate change on their communities. He believes climate change should be the defining issue of our time, and he's determined to bring it to the forefront of UN discussion. This move comes amid protests around the world and emergency declarations in countries like the UK and Ireland. Guterres also feels a duty to take up action to make up for the unwillingness of the US to contribute. The country has greatly decreased its involvement and has recused itself from climate discussions under the current administration. Seeing an absence of obvious leadership, Guterres seeks to align Asian and European leadership in the fight against climate change by putting forth new resolutions similar to measures already moving forward in progressive nations. We talked a bit about Joe Biden a few weeks ago and his environmental record. A full video dedicated to his environmental policies is coming soon, but in the meantime, Joe Biden is receiving intense backlash from climate activists as he remains committed to moderate policies. While his supporters see his moderate politics as an opportunity for more bipartisan cooperation, critics need only point to the unwillingness of many Republicans to even bring climate legislation to a vote to cast doubt on this optimistic political vision. Biden's climate policy is not especially objectionable, especially not when compared to that of the current administration, and he boasts a strong score from the League of Conservation voters. However, activists are unsettled by his willingness to make concessions in the area of environmental policy. This would be useful in a Republican-controlled legislature, but projected Democratic gains in the Senate could leave Biden in the position of a moderate obstacle to radical climate change legislation. The Democratic candidate has also caused concerns by expressing interest in a variety of questionable and sometimes contradictory measures, like burying greenhouse gas emissions in the Earth's crust. This interest is indicative of the fledgling, non-specific nature of Biden's climate plan. Skeptics demand a more concrete plan with economic and scientific backing before supporting his campaign. Now, some karma. A couple in California has successfully sued Monsanto for the damages of its product, glyphosate and Roundup, giving them cancer. The couple has been awarded $2.1 billion in damages. Although Monsanto obviously intends to appeal this decision, it is a landmark case that might be the beginning of the end of Roundup, if not Monsanto in general. The stock for Bayer, the company that owns Monsanto, is at a 7-year low, partially due to many court cases like this. These cases have stemmed from consistent evidence that glyphosate is a carcinogen, and even that the EPA's recent denial of it being one could be linked to ties between the EPA and Monsanto. Monsanto has denied that it causes cancer, but many representatives of the company have said it's safe, but then refuse to drink the product. More cases like this are expected to come, and with them more losses for Monsanto. Next up is some Tesla news. According to a new report, most of the solar cells in Tesla's Buffalo Gigafactory are being sold overseas instead of to customers in the United States for solar roof tile installation. A key reason for Tesla's acquisition of SolarCity was to develop a system of solar panels on a rooftop that looked nearly identical to regular roof shingles. These solar tiles would then be able to power Tesla cars at home, thereby solidifying electric cars as zero-emission cars, since 100% of the energy would come from the solar panels. However, progress on these rooftops has stalled, despite Tesla's insistence that the program is going well. If the program does improve, then it will be a landmark change for electric cars, since they would truly release zero emissions during use. Our last two stories are interconnected. Koalas have now been declared functionally extinct, meaning that if populations continue to decline at current rates, there will not be enough mating pairs to continue the species. According to the Australian Koala Foundation, there are only an estimated 80,000 koalas left in the wild. There are multiple definitions of functionally extinct, including that they don't play a functional role in the ecosystem or that the population is no longer viable to reproduce. Neither of these are good. The cause of this decline is mainly attributed to deforestation and climate change. How can you help? Through the World Wildlife Foundation, you can adopt a koala. This will mean that you get constant updates on its status, as well as a plush doll and an adoption certificate. You can also help by donating to SaveTheKoala.com. If you live in Australia, please contact your representative and urge them to pass the Koala Protection Act. We might not have much time. I know this video is longer than usual, but there was a lot this week. Our final story is about how today is Endangered Species Day. With a million species worldwide facing extinction, including the pictured red panda, we are in a biodiversity crisis and must act now. The situation is dire, and we need to make changes if we are to avoid ecological collapse. How can you help? By doing everything you can. Stop buying single-use plastics. Stop shopping at Amazon so much and instead buy used goods. Put solar panels on your roof. Bike or walk when you can. Go vegan or at least start with something like Meatless Mondays. Only buy fair trade products. Eat organic. You, as the consumer, have a monumental amount of power. Use it. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at @WeAreEcocentric, where we post daily about environmental news and education. Well, that's all from me, and that's what you're trying to save the world. The power is in your hands. What do you guys think about the new studio? This will be hung up soon, obviously. This will be like right here, and those books will be gone when I'm done with school. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I did promise you guys a studio like last week or something, so this is what it is.